Happy Pride Month!
Happy Pride Month. Hey, everybody.
Woo!
All right.
Yeah, welcome to all of our viewers. We got a old friend joining us today. That's
Ron.
good to see. Good to see you, Ron, hanging out with us today. And then we have this happening right now.
I swear, I was telling Liz, I feel like Fat Mike from NoFX. Right now.
All right. Well, we'll see how long you keep it on.
Oh,
for.
it might be just like, it might just be 2 minutes.
Well, you want to kick off the show? You're leading it. You're the host of today's festivities.
Yeah, and I have no idea what I'm going to say.
Cool. I'm glad.
So we're just going to come
as usual, we are prepared, and make sure my shirt is.
Though I feel like we're more prepared this time than we normally are.
Maybe for you.
As far as our lack of preparedness goes.
Yeah.
All right. Ready?
I'm ready. Do you need a countdown?
No, it's
no,
okay.
Okay.
That's you and Brandon. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Cosmos with Cosmos. As always, I'm Fat Mike.
I'm Liz.
And today we're talking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about rainbow astronomers and physicists and scientists.
LGBTQ in space.
Yes, that's what we are talking about today.
Move our mic away. I don't know. We might be blowing out the mic a little bit based on our audio levels.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit excited. So, and I'm leaning into the mic a little bit.
I would like to address, though, since for anybody who would be listening just on the podcast version and not understanding the Fat Mike reference, Mike is currently wearing a rainbow mohawk wig, and so he feels like Fat Mike from NoFX is what he said.
Yeah.
And also, you'll notice that we're missing somebody. Smeagol has made it, of course. As always, Smeagol never misses an episode. However, Brandon is not here today. He is traveling
in the air as we speak. Hopefully, knock on wood.
So he sends all his pride love from the flight that he's on.
Yeah, see, at 3,500 feet above the surface of the Earth, and a little bit less than the satellites that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
But yeah, he unfortunately is in the air and on his way home. So.
And of course, hi to my mom. Jack was sent a picture earlier of this amazing shirt that he has that's like a unicorn weightlifter. It was great.
Yeah, unicorn deadlift.
Unicorn deadlift, and I really like that shirt. It was really fun. So pride. Let's start it off with we gotta do our drinks and then some rules, and then we can get into what we're talking about.
All right. So Liz, what are you drinking?
Oh, which one do I do first?
Whichever ones you want.
Okay. Well, my main drink today is some Pride wine. That's all I'm calling it. Pride wine. It's by House Wine. It's basically some Pride Rosé in a can. So
yes, indeed.
We got that. And then a secondary drink that we're gonna. Are we saving this for our first drink reference, or are we just gonna drink this?
Well, let's just drink it now.
Okay, this is called a Bifrost, and it is things in a glass that Mike made.
It is. Okay. So it's a combination of cherry rum milk punch. There we go. Too many words. Cherry rum
so it's cherry
milk
rum,
punch. So it has cherry rum, milk, half and half, sugar, has some vanilla extract in it, and to give it that nice kind of pinkish color, we add some red food coloring to it. And that is on top, but on the bottom, to give the appearance of the bi flag, we have blue curacao on the bottom.
Yes.
And we're going to
Cheers. All right.
I don't know how well this is going to go, but.
All right.
So cheers, everybody.
Oh, my mom's eating some rainbow gummy worms.
Nice.
Ron says, drink in the rainbow road, don't fall off. Oh, Ron.
Yes.
We fall off a lot of that road.
Yeah, just wait till they hang out.
All right, your main drink.
And this one is, by the way, Liz and I are both sharing, we all had the same drinks. So we both had the same drink. So this has been on the pod before, but this is the Rainbow Astronomer. And it has, I did a much better job dividing the colors this time. But we have blue curacao on top. We have a orange juice coconut rum in the middle. Though we did entertain the idea of doing a strawberry.
It's a dragonberry.
Dragon fruit strawberry rum, which we did consider about being in the orange juice portion, and then grenadine on the bottom. So cheers, everybody. Those are our drinks. Is Jack with us yet? Well, if Jack joins us, then he can tell us what drink he has. If anybody has drinks right now, put it in chat and let us know. Let us know what you got. All right, let's go over some social media.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Okay, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we gotta get through all this stuff.
Okay.
All right, so follow us on all the social things. Twitter, which is at Drinking Cosmos, and of course on Instagram, which is Cosmos. Follow us, rate us, subscribe to us, all that kind of good fun stuff. Don't forget to like our stuff on the YouTubes, and just tell the social media world how great we are. Basically, is what it is. And Ron has beer.
Beer.
Yes. We do have some rules.
Yes.
As always, if one of our dogs barks, then please take a drink. We are not expecting any packages today, so all should be quiet, which means it won't be. Any Star Wars reference and any Lord of the Rings reference.
Take a drink.
With Brandon 3,500 feet up above the ground right now.
There'll be less Lord of the Rings references?
Well, we might not have many, but as many.
Maybe.
Okay, we'll see what you can do. We'll see what you can do.
We'll see. I don't know.
All right. Okay, so let's get started. So it is Pride Month. It is the end of Pride Month, at least here in the U.S.
Yeah.
June is Pride Month, LGBTQ plus Pride Month here in the U.S. September has Bi Pride, but yeah, we have our own month. And so we thought that we would take a little bit of time and talk about some of our rainbow astronomers and physicists and basically members of the family that are contributing to our understanding of the universe. And there have been a lot in history, but the thing is with astronomy, when you publish the results of your study of a supernova or something, it's not really any place in the paper where you can say, hey, I'm LGBTQ plus. Let's talk supernovas. So, in particular, this supernova. And so it doesn't really come out. But
pun intended?
Okay, pun intended. But you know what? Even though LGBTQ tend to be kind of invisible in the sciences world.
Well, the majority of the light spectrum is invisible to our eyes.
That is true. They're there, and they're contributing, and we've had quite a few scientists over history, and one that I found kind of interesting was Sir Francis Bacon.
Sir Francis Bacon?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Wow.
He invented bacon.
That's all he's known for is bacon. 6 degrees of Sir Francis Bacon.
But he is considered the father of the scientific method, which I did not know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
really?
I didn't know that either.
I thought he was just like an explorer. He circumnavigated.
And a philosopher.
Did he circumnavigate
and that type of
the
thing?
globe? What did he do? I don't remember.
Yeah, things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so he had a lot of gentlemen waiters at his estate.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I see.
In fact, most of
Mr.
them
Bacon.
were gentlemen waiters.
All right.
And actually, some letters back and forth between his mom and his brother made the implication that he was gay. So.
Oh, okay. Was there any indication in the letters on like the level of support from family or?
Not from what I read.
Oh, okay.
So, there probably wasn't a lot of support.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's definitely.
There was one particular gentleman waiter that apparently had caught his eye, and I believe his name was Sir Toby Matthew.
Oh.
And he was the inspiration for a.
Wait. These gentlemen waiters, are they actually waiters, or is that like
I'm sure it's wait staff.
Okay. But he's a sir? Well,
But
I guess
he ended up being a sir.
oh, that's an honorific though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like a knighted sir.
No, what definitely went a night on. Well, I can't say that, but but anyway,
Wow.
yeah. In fact, he was the inspiration for Bacon's On Friendship essay.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, and so throughout history, there have been a lot of LGBTQ plus people in the sciences, and I think probably the most famous one, is Alan Turing, right? And
Oh yes, the World War II code breaker.
yeah,
solved
the Enigma. Broke the Enigma machine.
Yeah.
And the inspiration for, was it The Imitation Game? Was about him.
With a Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes. And so, and in the 1950s, the 40s and 50s, actually before then, being gay was illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, and while Alan Turing's story is probably the most famous for people, it's also probably one of the saddest as well.
He was like fired, or he was.
Well, no, he wasn't fired. But what happened was, he was brought up on charges of indecency because he was gay. And the thing is like he didn't hide it. He didn't hide it with the people that he worked with. And that type of thing, but indecency charges were brought up against him, and he was basically, what is it? It's like chemically castrated or something.
Oh, right. That's
And-
right. That's just horrific.
Yeah, and so, I mean, basically 2 years later, he committed suicide.
Wow.
And, the thing is he basically, I don't know, he's kind of like the father of computers.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we use stuff that he was thinking about, 60 plus years ago, almost 60 years
Yeah.
ago. So very, very sad story. Sally Ride.
Sally Ride.
First American woman in space.
I always like to say like she rode on into space.
Yes. Yeah. And that was she went up in June of 1983. So I think it was, if I remember right, June 18th,
Okay.
1983.
All right. Oh, right. A month from your birthday. Almost.
Yeah. So, yes, a third human in space from Mr. Ron Proctor. But the first American woman in space.
Yes.
Because the Soviets beat us to the punch quite a bit. And I don't think she ever publicly came out.
No,
it was after her death.
Yeah, it was after her death, and her partner.
Tam O'Shaughnessy?
Shaughnessy?
O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
Very, very Irish.
Yeah.
Or is it Scottish? It's very, very UK.
It's definitely Irish.
Yeah, very.
O'Shaughnessy.
O'Shaughnessy.
Tam.
Tam
That's one of my mom's horses, Tam O'Shantner.
Okay, well, I didn't want to. I didn't want to compare her to a horse.
Well, I'm not comparing her to a horse.
But I did when I was doing research. I did think, Liz's mom had a horse, Tam.
Yeah.
So.
Sally Ride.
Yeah.
Well, and she's done a lot of stuff. She's known primarily for being an astronaut, but she was a professor.
And in Sally Ride Science.
And Sally Ride Science, she's done a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of contributions.
Yeah, and Sally Ride Science is still going on. Her partner Tam has taken it over since Sally Ride's death.
My mom says Tam is a gorgeous horse, so...
Yeah, but still. Direct all mail to Karen. So, let's talk about, people that are currently living...
Well, hold on. I think we should talk about Frank Kameny.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Or
yes.
Kameny? I don't know. I had to say names.
Yeah, so Frank Kameny, in the 50s, he had gotten a job with the U.S. Army Corps of Mapping.
Yeah,
It was U.S. Army, and they brought up homosexuality charges on him, and he refused to participate in the questioning.
Yeah.
And they fired him.
And then he became barred from ever holding a government job.
Yes, and he took it to the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. In fact, it was the first sexual orientation case to go before the Supreme Court, and he lost. However, he became a huge gay rights activist.
And he coined the phrase, gay is good.
Gay is good.
Gay
yes,
is good.
I was about ready to say, yeah.
What was the specific work he was doing in astronomy? Because he was doing something in astronomy, and then he got hired with the U.S. Army.
Yeah, oh man, I can't remember. I can't remember what he was working on.
Here. Let me see. Okay, here, let me pull it up, because I
think it was like stellar spectra.
Yeah, he took, it was photometric studies of variable stars. He took over 500 observations of yellow, semi-regular variables, and RV Tauri stars.
Nice. And who was he? Who did he work under originally? I can't remember.
He earned a PhD in astronomy from Harvard in 1956. Oh, he studied under stellar astronomer Cecilia Payne-Gaposchkin.
Yeah, so
he
famous.
He studied under a woman.
Yes, indeed. So, back when, and it's still today, but even more so back then when women did not get the respect that they deserved in astronomy. Henrietta Leavitt, Vera Rubin should have gotten a Nobel Prize, God damn it.
We should make a drinking rule every time you bring up Vera Rubin.
We might get drunk on those episodes.
Yeah.
She deserved it. She truly deserved it. Not only were... Hey, look, there's a lot in the world that needs to be fixed. And just in, the science community, and just like the rest of humanity, has a very checkered past. People got fired just for the people that they loved. People did not receive the recognition that they deserved because they have a vagina. And let's just be honest about it.
Yeah.
And was it Crick and Watson got credit for discovering DNA when it was actually... I don't remember her name, and I guess that probably is the point.
The point.
But she's the one who figured out that it's a double helix, and then Crick and Watson were like, "Hey, it's a double helix."
Yeah.
And
Ron says that Cecilia was one of Pickering's human computers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then my mom says both Aristotle and Socrates were gay.
And Plato.
Well, Greeks.
Yeah.
I think the Greeks had a lot more fluid definition on sexuality.
Yeah, they completely did.
Than we've anyway, there's a lot of, I mean, your intelligence, and your capabilities and your passions are irrelevant to, who you love, what you like, color of your skin, your gender, whatever, and so, we'll talk about in a little bit about why representation is important. But let's go on to some of today's LGBTQ contributions.
Yeah, and doing research for some of this, I discovered some really cool stuff. Now I think everybody knows that listens to the podcast knows that the three of us, well, when Brandon's here, and some of those some that actually are listening and are friends of the pod, we come out of the planetarium field, and
what?
I know, right? That is how we all met. And the planetarium field has a lot of LGBTQ people in it. It's a creative field. Mm-hmm. It has people that are bringing in art and science together. Mm-hmm. The planetarium is where art and science meet, and is presented to the public. And so we have kind of a larger LGBTQ plus demographic in our community.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In fact, can I just caveat away for, I don't know, that's not the right use of the word caveat, but segue away just for a second, because sure. Because you brought up planetarium field, and so I was, when we were preparing,
in the back of my mind, I was thinking about.
Were you thinking about? Okay. When we were preparing for the show, I found this article online. It's on Thrillist, so I don't know the reputableness of Thrillist, but there's an article that came out last year that is titled "Space is Gay," and it has an important lesson for us. So you can Google that. It's a good read as using the cosmos as a model of inclusivity, but it talks about a PhD student. I don't know if he's still a student or not, since it came out a year ago, but his name is Kashawn Ivory, and he's in the Fisk Vanderbilt Master's to PhD Bridge program, and so getting does it say what his degree is going to be in? It might be physics, but he wants to, after he finishes, be a planetarium director. Which I think is super cool, because a lot of people that are getting higher level astronomy degrees, I mean, they're doing it to be in research and all that, but he wants to be in the planetarium field, and he basically thought about what he really liked about space, which was the colors and the imagery, and the best way then to present that image to the public and use his specialized background is in the planetarium field, which I think is fantastic, because it really is that the planetarium is a really good bridge between that, the science language of astronomy and the public's understanding, communication to the public, and just making it accessible for all, you know. And space should be accessible for all, and astronomy in general, it does show that, a wide variety of human beings, are involved in it and have made fantastic contributions. Mm-hmm. So that's my segue back into what we're going to talk about with the current people.
Okay, I do want to, prior to...
I'm sorry, you can take the wig off.
Yeah, it is a little... I'm going to leave it on.
Really?
I'm going to leave it on.
Okay. I'm surprised you lasted this long.
For the hangout, it'll probably be off.
Hangover?
Yeah, the hangover, yes. I do want to, in all seriousness, I do want to say this.
Okay.
The people that we will mention now, they, at least as far as I know, are living. So.
Okay.
In all seriousness, you never, out anybody. So all of these people have already come out in one fashion or another. If for whatever reason that you find out somebody is a member of the LGBTQ community, if they have not come out publicly, you do not out them. It is the shittiest fucking thing that you can ever do to out somebody. It is up to the person to out themselves. And so I do want to say that all of these people are out publicly, and so
yeah. In fact, there is a website that is called it's like 500 queer scientists, and it's basically where queer scientists can go and they can put their bio on and just kind of say, hey, I'm in this community, and so it's like a directory almost of kind of the
of rainbow astronomers.
It's a rainbow directory.
Yeah, and so there's a few of them. LGBTQphysicist.org has an out list and all that. And so if I ever hear that you have outed somebody when then
Uh-oh.
I am gonna hate you forever. But anyway, and so what was really cool about this list is, like, I'm looking at the list and I'm go, oh yeah, these people are in the planetarium field. Some of them are in the Luciana Walkowitz at Adler.
What does she do?
She's non-binary, so I'm not really quite sure what their pronouns are, so I guess I'll just use their.
Oh, okay.
Them and they. But they take a look at stellar magnetic activity and I left it off the notes, but how that impacts potential alien life. And so if you have really strong magnetic fields from a star, how does that impact things? And what's interesting is that they look at small dwarf stars, which are very active as far as like flares and stuff like that. So they're very magnetically active, and what kind of implications that might have with life. And they're associated with the Kepler Space Telescope, so the Kepler mission. May Kepler live in peace, rest in peace now. And all that. And so, and also in the planetarium field is Rebecca Oppenheimer, a transgender astronomer at the American Museum of Natural History.
Okay, where the Hayden Planetarium
is.
Yes,
where the Hayden Planetarium in New York City is located. And they are they're one of the astronomy chairs at the American Museum of Natural History.
That's cool.
And she's written just tons of astronomy papers and all that.
That's amazing. Ron says he keeps a 3D printed human skull on his desk at school. It's a conversation piece for discussing human differences without skin or face. We're hard to tell apart regardless of race, gender, etc. Which is exactly true. I mean,
yes.
Strip off all this, and we're all the same.
Yes.
We're made of the same stuff.
Yeah,
basically.
what I always liked seeing was on the internet, there'll be like a meme every once in a while where it is just skeletons, and it goes, and they're all the same, right? But it'll say like African American, gay person, all this kind of stuff. And the point is, we're all the same.
We're all the same. We just have, different genetic differences, different, we've been born in a different way, mentally, physically, whatever, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings. So let's love one another. God, why is it so hard?
Right?
Jeez.
Oh, God. The world would be such a better place. Andrew Chow? I can butchered his last name, I'm sure.
Look, apologies ahead of time. Because
he's not listening. But anyway, he was part of the team that took the first black hole picture.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Event Horizon Telescope?
The Event Horizon Telescope, because he was part of that. And James Pollock, first grad student of Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
Works with, he worked on Mariner 9, Viking, Voyager, the Voyagers, I should say, Galileo.
And he, what was it? It was like, he came out as gay, or the school found out he was gay, or something happened. But and then Sagan advocated for him.
We need more of that.
Yeah,
we need more of that.
Just people in authority, like professors, advocating for the student. In fact, I read it or saw it on, I think I was reading it in an article, and it was like, it was a professor, and he basically, when he meets his students for the first time, the first question he asks is, how do you want to be addressed? What's your pronoun?
Yes.
So that it just opens that door of this is okay, and this is a normal thing that is okay to ask somebody, so that you are addressing them correctly,
yeah, and that they feel included.
And that they feel then included, like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I can be myself.
Yeah.
I can be who I am.
Mm-hmm.
It is so important. And so, speaking of importance, why don't we talk about, because there's so many LGBTQ physicists and astronomers in the world that have contributed so much to our knowledge of the universe. Mm-hmm. And so we're here. We're there. And I think, speaking of importance, that we should spend a few minutes just talking about the importance of representation.
Okay, yeah.
Because one of the things, if you talk to, so I think, like, a lot of people on the right side of the conservative spectrum. I mean, on the political spectrum.
The right side of the conservative spectrum?
Yes, on the right side of the political perspective. They talk about how there's too much, gayness in films and in TV shows. But you know what? It's a representation of people.
Too much gayness. It's been white and straight since the beginning of media.
I know, exactly. White, straight, and male.
Yeah.
That's the way it has been. White, straight, and male.
Yeah.
And
that's what this country was founded on.
If you are white, straight, and male, congratulations. You have the privilege of ruling the world and everybody else.
You did it.
Yes, you did it by virtue of not doing a goddamn thing. So your parents did it for you. So representation, it matters. Mm-hmm, and I think for people, just in the everyday world, and I'm thinking about, a 13-year-old, a preteen maybe, that's just coming into realizing that they might like somebody of the same sex, and having to navigate that world. Like in the 80s, you would have never seen that in TV shows or in movies. You had it in music, though, with
George Michael.
Yeah, with George Michael and even Boy George.
Boy George. Oh, I was thinking Boy George.
Yeah, even Boy George and his androgynous, nature in the 80s with Culture Club.
Or David Bowie.
Yeah, but even David Bowie would not talk about it much. But even when they're starting to come out in music, in the 80s, they were, this is Boy George. Boy George. Oh, he probably likes guys. Oh man, he's a deviant. And that type of thing. It's only very recently that you have LGBTQ that are seen in movies and on TV. And the reason why that is important is because the preteens, they can see that on TV and go, hey, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I see myself.
Yeah, and they can also, especially when you have contributions like Astro Katie Mack, who does a whole lot of great astronomical work, and so she is out there in the media, and people can see her. Her as kind of, she's almost like, I would say, like a pop culture. She's a figure in science. She's that kind of prevalent.
Social
media has done a lot. For me and my sort of example of how representation does matter is growing up. And as a young teen, watching shows like Xena Warrior Princess and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and seeing these strong female figures who were badass and taking charge,
Yep.
And it was like, it didn't hit me until I was older that then I realized how important seeing that as a kid was.
Right.
And seeing that on TV where it wasn't just Hercules, but it was, it was like Xena got her own show. And it meant a lot to see that. And it was like,
yeah. Think about how many TV shows and movies where the hero is male, and any female or other characters play just supporting roles.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis, what's his face? Arnold Schwarzenegger. All of them male, all of them white. Harry Potter. As much as I love Harry Potter, and where does Hermione Granger fall into this? She is a supporting role.
And it's so hard then to get a cool Halloween costume when you're a girl because all the cool Halloween costumes are guys and then they don't fit you. So you can't.
Yeah, and what are the female costumes?
Princesses or sexy.
They're sexy. They're sexy
things.
Sexy nurses.
Yeah.
Sexy whatever. Sexy jokers. That type of thing.
But another point that I kind of was going to make, but then...
Sorry.
Was just that seeing that representation then also has the outcome of then kids and people being like, oh, well then I can be an astronomer too, or I can be a physicist. I can be a physicist. Like, it's not, and you see that in those fields, and so that is just a further empowerment for kids and young people then to be like, it's okay then if I pursue this field because it's not limited to just like old white guys or whatever, and so then it just helps to open up those doors and get people more involved in whatever profession that it is.
Yeah, and so I mean, okay, so I understand where there really is no place in scientific papers for LGBTQ astronomers and physicists, biologists, geneticists, all of these science disciplines to say, I'm LGBTQ. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't have a place in a scientific paper because it's about, that's irrelevant to...
No, but I do think that that all of us in the LGBTQ community need to say, this is who I am. Because I will tell you, I'm always surprised by this. Though I can't wait for the day when these comments do not happen to me and or Liz. For example, at Halloween last year, we have a pride flag out in front of our house. It is constantly up. It serves two purposes. It is the main purpose is to let people know that we see you, we accept you, and you have a place right here. The second reason is to piss off our neighbors because they they don't like it, I'm sure. Um, but mainly to let people know.
We don't know. We don't know. We're
know.
making an assumption based
We're
on the
basing
type
it-
of community we live in and the state that we live in. But
We're basing it on one neighbor.
there is an aspect of like rebelliousness to it.
Yeah, and we're very excited because our neighbor actually has a pride flag up as well, which is new. They put it
just
up for
put it
Pride
It was
Month.
like, oh, okay, cool.
This is the first year they put it up, and so I was very excited to see it. But
Back to Halloween story. Sorry.
back to Halloween story. So we love Halloween. We dress up.
No, will you dress up?
Yeah, we dress up. We already have plans for this year.
Wait, what are our plans?
Well, I can't tell
I
everybody,
know. Okay. Anyway, continue.
but it has to do with like Einstein and everybody.
Is that what we're gonna do?
I thought it was what
Okay,
we were-
I don't know if we
anyway.
landed on that. Anyway.
Okay, wait. Then it's still in motion. Plans are being made. But anyway, so we were handing out candy, and
From a distance. Last
from
year.
a distance, yes, it was from a distance. The candy was actually on a tray away from us, and we were just standing outside. And this kid comes up to us, and did we have the American flag up?
I don't think we had the American flag. I think it was the regular pride flag.
Okay, so we do
No,
have.
it was the American.
It
'cause
was?
They
Okay, that's
commented
what it
they'd
was.
never
That's what
seen
it
it
was.
before. They've never seen one.
All right, so
before.
we have an American pride flag up. So it is an American flag, and with the stripes, it is the rainbow stripes. But I think the stars in blue are still the same, right? Yeah. And this kid comes up to us and asks us about the flag because they said they had never seen a flag like that, and they wanted to know where we got it. And I think we said we got it on Amazon, which is exactly where we got it.
Yeah.
But they said that they were trans, and I think we also had the bi flag up behind it.
Yeah.
So we put an American pride flag up, and right behind it normally is the bi flag, which is blue, pink, and purple. Mm-hmm. And they just told us. They came out and told us that they were trans and that they were bi and they appreciated the flag. But not only did the kid tell us that, the mom told us.
The mom did, and they go around and they take pictures in front of every pride flag they see.
Yeah, and so they took a picture of it, and so that kid, and I've actually had a couple. I had there were these two girls that came up.
Oh yeah,
I went
right.
to go check the mail one day, and these two girls came up. They actually were walking past the house. They stopped, and one of them actually came up to me to tell me, no, I was backing out. I was backing out to go somewhere, and a girl came up to the car and said, "I really like your flag," and it felt just amazing. And there was one time, a year or two ago, where we had somebody write in chalk on our driveway.
Oh, that's right. That's
Love
right.
is love.
Love is love.
And so I feel like people see our house and they feel accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I want.
Pride Planetarians.
Yes. And so and through that flag, they see themselves and they feel they feel like they are accepted, because I never had that.
Yeah.
There were no rainbow flags. There were no bi flags. There were no any other flags. There was the American flag, and there was the flag of South Carolina, and there was a Confederate battle fucking flag. Seriously, in all seriousness, at the South Carolina State House, it was American flag, South Carolina state flag, Confederate battle flag, a flag that never flew over South Carolina. But regardless, it should not have been there.
Side note, and then I want to actually I want to take a look at some of the comments here and highlight those. But side note, I think one of the most, nothing to do with pride, but one of the most shocking things for me, who grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, was that in the South they actually did call it they do call it the War of Northern Aggression. That was one of the most shocking things I ever learned, because I didn't think that was a real thing that actually that people called it. But
yes, and anyway. I am not going to say who this is, but I have a family member that calls it the War of Northern Aggression, and I haven't quite figured out if they're saying it to be sarcastic or not. Probably. But
okay.
yeah, that's a different podcast.
That's a different podcast. All right, let's let me. I have to scroll up here because okay. Ron had said, according to Maslow, safety is one of the most important human needs. Can a person feel safe in a place if they do not feel welcome? Can a person feel welcome if they do not feel accepted? And that's a really good point, Ron, because I mean, everybody wants to feel safe.
Right.
And because if you don't feel safe, I mean, then you're filled with fear. You're scared. And you can't.
And even if you don't physically feel threatened, you actually feel scared. You feel unease.
You can't be yourself. You can't be, you can't act a way you want to or would normally in an environment where you don't feel safe or, and I think that you do need to feel accepted, to feel welcome,
right.
And then they all do go together, and so that's why inclusivity and representation, those are just ways to show that acceptance and that welcomeness, and so that people can feel safe no matter where they are,
Yeah.
It's like,
I will tell you that the hardest thing in the world to say, if you truly care for the person that you're saying this to, is I am. Whatever comes after that. That is the hardest thing to say. Because I am gay. I am bisexual. I am trans. I am whatever the fuck you want to say. You do not know how your life is going to change the split second after you say that. And so I guess that leads into what can you do as a person, and I think that what you need to do is you need to put any prejudices that you need to look in the mirror. We all need to do. This is not you out there in the world. This is all of us. I need to do this. We all need to do this. Look in the mirror and say, what are my prejudices? And if somebody comes up to me and says, I'm gay, I'm bi, whatever, you need to put aside whatever you have in your head and just accept them. When a kid comes out to their parents, the only acceptable answer from the parents is I love you.
Yeah. Just.
That's it.
And that's all they need. Is just to know that. Okay.
There should not be a question. There shouldn't be anything. There should be no question about. There should be no questions about how you live your life. What you do. This type of just any kind of shit. There's the only thing that as a parent that you should say to your child is I love you, I accept you. Let's go get ice cream.
Do you want to go get ice cream?
Well,
we can't.
Always. We can't today. Can somebody deliver ice cream to our house?
Ron, in reference to our flag being up, says, nice work supporting our neighborhood. We are the LGBTQ Mr. Rogers.
Yes, we are. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Won't you be my neighbor? Oh, my mom says she of you.
Yeah, because you truly, because you know what? All right, so, there are a lot of us. There are a lot of us where our parents love us no matter what, and they accept us no matter what. But there are a shit ton of people where, as soon as they say it, they are kicked out of the family.
Yeah.
They're kicked out of the house.
Disowned.
Imagine being 15 years old and you now have to leave the house because you happen to like people of the same sex and you have no control over that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just
imagine.
Yeah, like, so I'm in 5th grade and I realize I'm 10 years old. I realize there's a kid on my football team that I might like. Mm-hmm. I'm smart enough to know at 10 years old, for whatever reason, that you don't tell anybody. You don't tell anybody that.
Right.
And take a drink.
Oh, it's happened.
I don't even know what Leia is barking at. Okay, so darn it. All right, so
Ron, I'm glad that your students have an advocate and a supporter in you, and that you can help them out. I think that is great. There's probably somebody just right outside walking in our house. That's
probably
what's happening.
I still remember this today, and I was thinking about it when preparing for this episode. Was that when I was a kid, I was probably 6 or 7 years old. So I wasn't old at all, relatively speaking.
No, you're a child.
And
you're not old yet. No.
I don't know how to describe this for people that are listening to a podcast instead of watching
do
us.
Your best. Be
I did this
descriptive.
with my hand.
Okay, so
he
bends his hand
which
down.
Which is just a just a loose. Yeah, and
like a Valley Girl kind of like
a
hand motion.
I just did it, and a family member I was with lost their fucking mind. That is what gay people do. You do not do that. You are a boy. You do not do that. This is feminine. You don't do that at all. And I was like, what the fuck? And that's probably what saved my life when I was 10, but it was yeah.
Wow.
I mean, what do you do with that when you're 7 years old? When the only thing that you want to do is just kind of go out and play in the backyard.
Yeah. You
want a tree house and you want to climb up in the tree house, and that's what you want. You're 7 years old.
Yeah, you don't know.
You're in 2nd grade when you're 7 years old. 2nd or 3rd grade.
Yeah, 2nd grade. I was 7 in 2nd grade.
Yeah. What do you mean that's what girls do? What do you mean? And everything when you're a kid, at least when I was growing up, was boys and girls. Boys do this.
Yeah.
Boys get G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Girls get Barbie.
And dolls.
And Ken is just like emasculated Barbie, but G.I. Joe, man.
Well, they can't make it anatomical.
Well, no. But if you look at G.I. Joe...
Oh, yeah, he's a manly man. He's a manly man. Ken is definitely gay.
Yeah. So...
and it was like that for me growing up. It was definitely blue for boys, pink for girls.
Which, ironically, 100 years ago, pink was for boys.
And then, of course, I then was kind of, and I don't know if other people saw me this way, but I considered myself a tomboy because I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I also loved My Little Ponies and She-Ra and He-Man and Care Bears, but I loved my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and but it was like, because that's a boy thing, but I like the boy things, I'd rather wear jeans than a dress, or and those were.
All right, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not pandering to certain group of members of our audience right now. You were beyond fortunate to have the parents you got.
Oh, so pandering to my mom. Yes, I am very...
Well, no. Pandering to your mom and dad. I'm not pandering to either one of them.
My dad's not listening. No.
But no.
No, I am very fortunate for the family that I had growing up. Thank you, Mom. Very... even though my dad is a Republican.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If you had come out to your parents, let's say you had come out to your parents as, hey, Mom, I'm a lesbian. Hey, Mom and Dad, I'm a lesbian. Or whatever. Pick a flavor. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Your parents, they would have been the ones that their very first thing that they would have said to you would have been, I love you.
Yeah, my dad might do like a smile and a nod, and then like he would make like an oh geez, and then like smile and nod, and not really say anything, but be accepting and not.
Your dad and I do not see the same politically, and never will. And I will never play golf. I'll play putt-putt.
He's a more fiscal conservative. He's not really a social.
Your dad, I love him to death. He loves you and your sister more than anything in the world, I think.
He does.
Or at least that's what it seems to me.
They put up with a lot of shit from us.
And
we've cost them a lot of money.
He just wants you happy. He wants you and your sister happy. Mm-hmm. Your mom wants you and your sister happy. Mm-hmm. And your mom and your dad would accept you no matter what you told them.
Yes.
You are fortunate to where your response is I love you and not a question of do you wear a dress.
Oh yeah.
And so
yeah.
And so that's just it's just an amazing thing to have. Mm-hmm. The world needs more of that.
Needs more Davisons.
The world needs more Davisons, minus all the
injuries
klutziness that at least the sisters have. So I think that really and truly what you can do is just accept people the way they are.
And I want to say that it's getting better, that as a society we are slowly, and maybe we kind of always are, moving in a forward direction. I mean, definitely as a society we have steps backwards, but I would say overall, in the grand scheme of our evolution as a species, that we are continually moving forward and things are getting better. In fact, we were having a discussion last night. What were we watching?
I don't... what did we watch last night?
My whole example. We were
Tenet.
watching. Was it Tenet that we were watching, or was it? No, it wasn't the movie because we were just.
Yeah, we were like, "What the fuck's going on with Tenet?" But anyway, go ahead.
It was something related to LGBTQ because we were gonna do this episode, and anyway, I feel like that. Oh, it was it the pronouns? Or
yeah, pronouns, yeah.
No, I don't know. Anyway, I feel
like... Well, I know we've discussed pronouns.
Yeah. I feel like it's getting better, and that kids today are seeing that, because they're seeing more representation and because they're hearing more representation and inclusivity, and that pronouns are a thing that's out there, that is not a, like, if somebody says, oh, what's their pronoun, or what, it's not a thing like, what do you mean pronoun, like, according to the English grammar rules, it's getting away from, it is moving more in the direction of, hi, I'm a he, they, or she, they, or a they, or a she, or a him, her, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's becoming where kids these days are less... Oh, somebody was talking about them getting bullied growing up. Oh, she was talking about she had two moms.
Yes,
that's what it was. It was
making
somebody...
it. Making
It
it.
was on the new season of Making It. We just watched the first episode, which is all that's out. And she grew up with two moms, and she was talking about how when she was really little, it was fine. But then as she got to an age, you get to an age and you start being bullied for bullshit. And so she was bullied for having two moms, and so then we started talking about hopefully it is there's less of that now today, that having two moms or two dads, or whatever flavor of parent you may have, or whatever flavor you are, is less of a stigma and less of something to be bullied about. I'm not saying it doesn't happen,
No,
but I'm hoping. I'm so far removed from the youth of today. I don't know what the fuck. I'm definitely in the camp of like, what are these kids listening to these days? What is this shit? But
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, you damn kids. But I'm hopeful that it is better than it was, and that it is continually moving in that direction.
Yeah, I'm gonna borrow a phrase from a great YouTube series. If anybody that is a teenager, a preteen, that is watching this or listening to this, that is questioning who you are, just know it gets better.
And
it really does fucking get better. Just get through the bullshit that is high school. Get through the bullshit that society is telling you. You are going to turn 18 years old one day, and you are going to find that the world is an amazing fucking place. And that you can be whoever the goddamn hell you want to be. You can be that person. It does get better, and I can tell you that we are so much further along than we were in the 1980s, and we're so much further along than we were in 1969 when Stonewall occurred. We're so much further along than we were in the 1950s when people would be fired or chemically castrated just for being who they are. And so just know it gets better. And society is always going to progress. And one day we will not need to have a podcast that's dedicated to LGBTQ astronomers and physicists and scientists, and where we have to open up about who we are and shed a tear or two and talk about how great parents are just for accepting and loving their kids. And I think with that, we call it an episode.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. Just remember, accept everybody for who they are that you come in contact with, because I'm going to be honest, you might save a life. And join us in, you know what? I don't know if it's in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We haven't quite decided. It'll either be in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And the topic, we'll figure it out. And so, you have anything that you want to add to this?
For those of you that are watching us right now, stick around for the hangover. We'll talk about more stuff like this. So hang over with us. But I think you covered it beautifully. I just want to tell you I love you and I accept you. And we'll see you next time on Cosmos with Cosmos. Thanks for listening, and happy Pride Month,
everybody.
everyone. And again, for those of you watching, we'll be right back with the hangover. So hang tight.
What happened?
Well, that video didn't work.
Oh, what was the video?
I think I messed something up on it was just the intro sequence to The Hangover.
Oh. Well, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, everybody. The Hangover intro video didn't want to work.
Well, we're here.
We're here, and somehow he's still wearing this thing.
I had to change the shirt. My shirt was drenched.
I can't just all these little pieces of this coming down are just driving me crazy. Like
driving you crazy?
Yeah, because I feel it. I feel it like touching my face, and it just.
Do you want me to take it off?
No. I want you to do whatever you want to do.
I swear, I still feel
like
Fat
okay
Mike.
With it, then that's fine.
I doubt Fat Mike is watching, but if you are, I feel like you.
That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. But.
So, welcome everybody to Cosmos with Cosmos Hangover, where we just have random talks. Ron is still with us. Thanks for sticking around, Ron. Your thermal regulation is on point. He was drenched.
I was drenched.
His shirt he was wearing was drenched. I mean, I was sweating for him just because we're in our upstairs office, which is a bedroom. But
so heat rises.
Got no place.
Heat rises, it's warm, and we can't turn on the
swamp cooler.
The swamp cooler because it would just blow the microphone out. So we are professionals. This is what we do.
We are professionals, as this guy back here is hanging out with us.
Yes, Neil.
I love him so much. I love him. Anyway.
All right. So here, we don't have anything planned for the hangout. And
you know what we were gonna do? I don't know.
Hangover.
I don't know if you looked anything up because I didn't, but we had discussed talking about some LGBTQ star stories.
Oh, I didn't look those up.
Yeah.
But you know what? Oh, I meant to.
Yeah. So we were gonna do some LGBTQ star stories, but we forgot to do the research.
And we watched Tenet last night, which was a 2.5 hour. Just mind fuck. Is what that was.
It was just basically Christopher Nolan wanting to film stuff in reverse.
Yeah, and which was cool. It was cool, but I probably would have to watch it again to kind of maybe sober to kind of figure things out. But all right. Here's the thing. And given that our limited number of people watching, I would love to know people's interactions with members of the LGBTQ community, or if you are a member of the community. Okay. God, I feel like I've completely. Oh, that was just a weird transition from me having a mohawk.
It's so wet.
I'm sorry, but I sweat.
Oh, God,
I sweat. It's hot. Yeah. Except you're metal. You're not punk. But. I do love a woman with a mohawk. What's your experiences with members of the LGBT community, or if you're a member of our family, what are some of the things that you've experienced from the larger world? Ron says you improve it significantly. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You're more punk than I am. And I have the tattoo. But anyway, all right. So while people think about this, and if they choose to respond, I will say this.
Okay.
I will say this. When I came out, the planetarium community accepted me.
Yes.
I got nothing but congratulations. This is a great thing. Thank you for being who you are. We'll just put it over here at this point. I think I'm going to wear that for the class tomorrow.
You should.
Actually, I think I really will.
You should.
But it's outside of that. I do think the funniest thing to me coming out was the like from a family member on Facebook. who didn't even read the post.
Oh, yes.
That was the funniest thing.
That was funny.
Like 2 years later, was shocked.
Was like, wait, what?
The news
We're like, you like the post? They're like, I didn't read it. I just like everything he posts. You know who you are.
I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. In fact, when it was told me, I was like, wait a minute, they were like the first to like it.
I was so confused.
I was so confused. I had to look it back up again, but yeah. So I do all that to just stall time.
Yeah.
While people maybe write and chat. I don't know. Yeah, but you know, it's a crazy world that we live in.
It's a very crazy world.
And you know, when marriage equality became the law of the land, which do not for once think that it is now set in stone and we can all move on. It is
We had a black president. Racism doesn't exist anymore.
Racism, yes, but that is a lie. You know, it is the majority. Right side of the political spectrum owns the court 6-3. Things that you consider to be, you know, set in stone as far as law goes, Roe v. Wade, marriage equality, none of that matters anymore because you actually have members of the court who say that precedence is not precedent. So Roe v. Wade could be overturned, which means that contraception can be overturned because it was all based on privacy, and contraception was also.
But
based
no
on
one can
privacy.
tell you if you have to wear a face mask.
I know, right? And marriage equality, what a day that was, where people can marry the person they love. In some cases, for fucking decades that these people were together.
Yeah, just fucking.
And
It's not even much. It's not. You don't really even get a tax break. Just fucking give it to them.
Yeah, and I mean. You take it for granted. If you're straight, you take it for granted that you can marry a member of the opposite sex. You just take it for granted.
Yeah, because you don't think about it.
Yeah,
it's not something. It's just like it's marriage. Like you don't.
Yeah, and you know, for gay people, for the longest time, it was. You couldn't do it. But not only could you not do it, you had to think about what do the neighbors think. Do we say we're just roommates?
Right.
Do we say that there is more to this than just roommates? And so you just don't know how important it is just to be able to say, that's my husband or that's my wife.
Yeah.
And so marriage equality was a great thing, and I do think with current makeup of the Supreme Court here in the United States, that's in jeopardy. And okay, if you are on the right side of the political spectrum, I get it. I understand. Change is hard. Feel
I hate change.
You feel a threat to some of the very things that you believe in. Let's say, for example,
what is that threat?
Well,
what? Like I've never even like if two non-straight individuals get married, that has no bearing on our marriage or way of life whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. But that's the argument.
What?
Okay, that's the argument. Then, you know what? Then don't get fucking gay married. You know, don't marry a member of the same sex. That's what it boils down to. If you were that passionate about it, let me ask you a question.
Only you decide if you're going to hell.
Let me ask you a question. At what age did you decide that you were straight? If you can answer that question for me, and do you wake up every morning thinking, I'm straight? I like members of the opposite sex. At no point in your life did you... No, it's not.
It's not rocket science, people.
At no point in your life did you ask the question, am I straight? Am I gay? Am I somewhere in between? At no point.
No, I think it's for straight people. I don't know. I can't answer this for everybody or anybody. Just I think it's you have a moment of experimentation and then you go, yeah, okay, I see where I lie. Like either you go, oh yeah, that wasn't really for me,
Yeah.
or you go, oh, maybe that was for me, and you kind of go, all right, that solidifies it.
Yeah.
Here's where, but I think it's mostly straight people that do that they experiment and then they go, oh yeah, okay, no, I'm definitely
but
in one camp or.
I can tell you that if you've never asked that question of yourself, a gay person has never asked that question of themselves either. It is just natural that they like who they like.
Yeah, but I think that for anybody who's not straight, there is a questioning of, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to feel this way.
Yeah.
Why am I feeling this way? Does this mean ... And then, whereas a straight person doesn't have to be like, does this mean I'm straight? It's just like oh yeah, I'm straight. But, there isn't that... There's, I think, more of a questioning on the other side of things when you're not straight, because there is that societal stigma and that societal, hasn't been okay or whatever bullshit.
Yeah.
So there is that questioning of and it's more of an uh-oh. It's more of like an oh no, because it's seen as a bad thing when it shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. It should be like, oh great, I like everybody, or oh great, I like the same thing, or whatever.
Yeah, I am 10 years old playing football, and yeah, I knew that it just was not what society thought. That is why I think society is one of the most evil things ever.
Well, we're our own worst enemies.
We are our own worst enemy. There is a reason why here in the state of Utah, suicide among teenagers is so high. There was a reason why suicide among LGBTQ teenagers is so high. And it is because they look around in the world and the world does not accept them for who they or who they are, I should say.
Yeah, and I would say, and at least for in this state, a specific branch of Christianity definitely contributes to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to thank you, Ron, for sharing that for you is watching Stan on American Dad. American Dad, this is a great show. I choose to be gay against what he was, and it made him think, why did I choose to be straight? And later figured out the answer is more complicated and interesting than a simple coin toss, which it usually, I would say, for most people, it is. Yeah. I don't know. I would say that, and maybe it's something with the level of evolution that our brains have reached for it to be more not to steal from gender fluid, but just a fluid in a sense.
Yeah.
And I don't think there ever has been a black and white, because we can see that in the animal kingdom.
It's always shades of gray.
We can see that with other species of animals, that homosexuality and whatnot happens in other species. you know? And
Yeah.
so for humanity, I don't think it's ever been black and white.
No.
However, I think that on the basis of, especially in the early days of human evolution, where we as a species need to propagate, where we need to have spawns to ensure the survival of our species, that then created a it created a imaginary black and white, where it has to be this way to propagate, but that's not necessarily the way it actually is.
I'm gonna be honest, straight people are doing a fucking great job at propagating.
Yeah, we're fine. Have you seen a fucking like all the 19 kids and counting bullshit that's out there? Like we're settle it down.
Straight people settle it down.
I think it's great that finally women are getting the chance to have careers instead of having babies, because we really don't need that many more babies in the world. Like let women do their own thing for a bit, because we're not all about our uteruses.
No. But you know what? Society, and to a very large extent, religion has made it about your vaginas and uteruses and what comes out of those.
Yeah.
And so
we're the weaker sex because we give life.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, my mom makes a good point. I don't think caveman procreation involved love, and I don't think that love is not an aspect until much later in our evolution.
Yeah, no.
Because it really was all about, just instinct, hormones, survival, much like most
baby.
of the animal kingdom operates today.
Gotta make them babies.
Where it's just about like mating and moving on and mating and doing crazy dances and mating.
If I'm a guy, not only is it about making babies, it's making my babies.
In fact, the first like kind of societal cultural switch from, and this isn't necessarily just like I'm not saying this is when we started to like think about love or anything, but just in a societal switch from marriage as a means of advancing in society, where it's like an agreement between families or what have you, was in like I think the late 1800s was when there became more a switch from marriage being about influence, society, money, what have you,
about love.
To love,
right,
as a reason for marriage. Late 1800s was when that societal shift started to kind of happen, which is insane because that's not that long ago.
No, it's not. We've come a long way in those 100 years, 100 plus years, but we have a long way to go.
We have a long
way to go. I really look forward to the day where I really want a Star Trek universe. Mm-hmm. I really do, where poverty no longer exists, where money no longer exists. I do think money is root of all evil. I hate to quote the fucking Bible that way, but I also want it to be where, it doesn't matter that two guys got married, two women got married. Mm-hmm. Where two men getting married and two women getting married is on the same idea and ho-hum as two women. Yeah. I mean, as a man and a woman getting married.
By the way, I saw, I don't know what, this was like on Twitter or somebody like had just like liked a post or whatever that I follow. Like, I don't know who these people are or whatever. And it was pictures of their wedding, and it was like some woman who she was like, oh, by the way, I got married, and it was pictures of her and her wife. Holy fuck, it was the most magical fucking wedding, the most magical pictures ever. They both looked stunning, and I was insanely jealous because I was just like, this is like a fairy wonderland of a wedding. It was like in the woods and like just absolutely gorgeous.
Really?
It was so beautiful, and I was like, damn, that was really nice. I was like, oh man.
You know what? Because I say this because I had somebody say this to me before. If you see two men kiss each other and you are completely freaked out by that, okay, that's you. It doesn't do anything for you. I'm not asking for it to do anything for you. However, I want you to look beyond the ooh and go, those are two people that love each other.
Also, my question is, why is there an ew? I mean, I guess it's like when you see like two like really old people kiss each other, and you're like, oh, like, oh.
Yeah, it's.
but
you need to look beyond that.
But at the same time,
go,
it's like, oh,
those are two people that love each other. Love each other enough to put their mouths on each other
for PDA. If you're enacting in PDA.
Just
you really,
accept, just for a moment, just live in the joy that they love each other.
Yeah, you don't have to kiss them. You're not involved in the situation at all.
Go kiss whoever the hell you want to kiss, but
my mom says kids don't like to see parents kiss. Yes, parents, don't kiss in front of your kids. It's gross. They don't want to see that. You're the parents. You're not humans. You don't have your own emotions and things. You're just parents. You're just there for the children, to be their parents. That's it. Don't show humanity. It's gross.
Do parents not like to see their kids kiss?
Parents,
like their significant others?
Parents definitely don't like to see their kids kiss.
So look, it goes both ways.
I mean, I remember that, and this makes sense looking back on it as an adult, on my teenage self, but I had my boyfriend in high school over in the playroom, and
Jack's here!
Oh, you missed some tears, Jack.
Man, you missed the show.
You'll have to watch this on YouTube when it comes out next week. Anyway, and I had my boyfriend over at the time, and we were in the playroom, and hormones happened, and so we're engaging in just mouths touching. And apparently my dad walked by outside the window, and then I received a phone call because I had my own phone line. I received a phone call, I believe, and my dad was like you need to, I forget what he said, but it was like, you need to sit apart from each other or whatever.
Okay, that's really funny. It's really funny that he called you.
He walks
by instead of saying something.
Me in person, he called me to basically tell me not to kiss my boyfriend as a teenager on the futon in the playroom in his house. And I felt super embarrassed because I was like, oh my god, my dad just saw that.
Okay, that's really funny.
And I get that. I wouldn't want to see a child of mine kiss, even though I know, but they're also children.
It happens, so.
Yeah. But also, yeah, we don't want to see our parents kiss. It's kind of gross. But at the same time, then it's good. I think it's good to show that parents are humans and should have that kind of...
And you know what's funny? Is I was going to say, I am going to whiplash this for a moment, and I'm going to say, Jack, what are you drinking?
Finally, we get Jack's drink. Apple juice with chai, iced tea with apple juice. Oh, that actually
sounds good. Sounds really good, yeah.
Jack, with apple juice? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of apple juice, so...
Yeah, and Ron's had all his beers. Ron drank all his
beers. I'm sorry,
And
Ron.
I'm about ready to start my...
we don't have beer, but we got liquor.
This actually will be my fourth drink if you count the shot. Oh, that pizza's going to taste so good tonight.
Oh, yeah, we're ordering pizza later. It's going to be good. It's going to be good stuff. Anyway.
The last weekend of each month, we order pizza as just a celebration of surviving the month.
Yeah.
And so we're at the last weekend of the month. And it's podcast weekend, so that means we don't want to cook. And by we, I mean Liz. Because I just make drinks.
Pretty much. He's the bartender. I am the cook. Brandon cooks occasionally.
When he's here.
When he's here, but he'll be back in time for pizza.
Yeah.
Ooh, apple cider Arnold Palmer. Apple cider?
So apple juice, apple cider, lemon juice, and tea. God, what proportions of that do you do?
I can see how that can work.
Because Arnold Palmer's
I like
half
apple
and half.
cider more than apple juice. I don't know what it is about apple juice, but
Man, apple cider
thing
and cinnamon whiskey.
about apple juice.
Good shit.
Oh no, that is good. You got some.
Well,
I'm just gonna be,
I have
I'm just gonna
mohawk
be
hair
pulling
all over me.
random wig hairs off of you.
Okay, since Jack is now with us, I feel like
Oh yeah, Jack, you missed it.
I feel like
I feel like I should do like a reveal. There you go. Turn to the side so we can get the full. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There we
Fat
go.
Mike of NoFX.
See, my mom says, we don't do gender jobs. Ken cooks, my dad, and she doesn't. Oh, I already put it on, Ron, but just for you because, oh no, Ron already saw me with it on. Yo, my dad, he is the cook of the family. He's a retired fire captain. Which I'm, of course, very proud of. I love bragging about my dad being a fireman. So he did a lot of cooking in the firehouse, and so he cooks at home, and he's a phenomenal chef. I think he does fantastic. My mom, she doesn't cook. Mom, you try hard. You do some good stuff, but dad is definitely good. He also sews. So like,
there should be no such thing as
if we needed
gender roles.
something sewn, like when a dog destroys one of their dog toys, the hospital is my dad, and so he'll sew it. Not like he's like the best sewer ever, but
what does your mom do?
my mom.
Hey, you know what? She takes care of the girls. She takes care of the horses and the mini dogs.
My mom takes care of the animals. She's responsible for the dogs. And that's what she does. I know.
And she makes good drinks.
Can we just pause? We have to pause for a second because there is some noise. I don't know if you can hear this in the microphone. Mike can't hear it at all.
I can't hear it.
It's
What
too
is
high
it?
pitched. It's like Leia hears it. It's like a bird sound.
Oh God! You see, this is why I need hearing
And I can't.
aids.
Okay, I gotta. Hold on.
Hi everybody, and it's just me now on on this hangover edition. I will take this as a moment. Is there something out there?
I think it's a bird. I think there's like a bird somewhere, and it's making like a bird sound. That is just a lot. Anyway, this is what the Hangover. This is what happens in the Hangover. For those of you who are uninitiated, Ron, it's just a random. It's just random shit.
You know,
what happens.
the whole idea of the Hangover is not to have any plans. We just go. And you know what? Hey Jack, I mean, if you can, I think you ought to put your shirt in the chat of this.
Jack, just to let you know, in the main episode, I did talk about your Rainbow Unicorn deadlifter shirt, and how I was jealous of it and I wanted it because I thought it was great.
You know, the main part of our show was really quite emotional. For me in particular, for everybody in this room. And you know, it's just 50-50 there, right? We
should have had you, Ron. We didn't think about it.
No, but you know what, Ron? I have been thinking like we need to text Ron just to say hi.
We have that.
Oh, but life gets in the way. And so you know, the first part of the show was really quite emotional. And I think that's important. People need to see how it's emotional, but I do love hangovers where it's just like, hey, you just go with the flow and
it's random bullshit.
So all right, so now that Jack has seen, it's just too hot.
Yeah. Ron says yes, do that. So you need to text Ron.
All right. I was gonna do it after the podcast.
Gollum does have all the feels. Well, at least Smeagol right now, I suppose.
Yeah, well, Smeagol's happy. Gollum is not happy. Oh, and Jack, Brandon is somewhere 35,000 feet above the surface of the earth, and will be arriving in Salt Lake City around 6 o'clock.
Maybe? I don't know. I don't even know what his flight is.
It was really delayed on Friday.
Yeah.
He was supposed to leave at 6 o'clock. No. Yeah, it was 6 o'clock. He ended up leaving like at 10:30.
10:30. Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
I just like being in my house. That's all I like. I don't want to fly anymore.
No. Did we have any more LGBTQ astronomy things to highlight or think anything we thought of?
Oh, no.
I have a question. Because I brought up this article. Brayden is personally knocking down Starlings. Yes, he wishes he was not. A good thing he's not here, otherwise a rant would ensue.
He's coming from the central part of the country. That's all I can say. That's all I will say, because it's just all fucked, as far as I know.
He had some last-minute travel plans he needed to do. Maybe that's why he is doing it.
And by last minute, I think we found out Thursday.
Yeah.
So,
but,
and he was leaving on Friday.
So I had brought up this article in the main show. I had brought it up because I looked at it. It was Space is Gay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to ask, what do you think? Space gay? How's space gay? What do you think about space being gay?
Space doesn't care. Space doesn't care. Space does not care. The universe does not care if you prefer to live with men or with women or whatever. It just does not care. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say about it.
Yeah, I think the point of it was because there's no aside of what we prescribe to it, like a galactic north, and that sort of thing. Space is Pan. Space is a honey badger.
Don't give a fuck.
That there's no up and down, left and right, or it's all subjective to your relative position in space.
Yeah.
And even, colors are what we see or what we prescribe to space, based on, what colors we want to use. And it's just, all night I'm going to be just...
Yeah, that's all right. But, like, the colors we see are not the colors that Leia and Jack sees, or even what Winter sees.
Yeah.
And so, and I've asked this question before, and it's a very... There's no way anybody can ever fucking answer this, right? But is my green the same as your green? And so, as a kid, you learn that this is green, and you associate it with green. And you do the same thing as when you're a kid. But what if our brains interpret it differently? Like, if I were to somehow magically look through your eyes, and you go, this is green, and I'm go, no, that's blue. To me, that's blue.
Well, that does happen, though, where there are some times where there was some... I forget what it was. It was a color of something, and you had said one color, but then I was like, no, it's purple or something. Like, there are times where we have this where you were like, oh, it's like a yellow, and I'm like, no, it's like a lime green.
Yeah.
Where we'll have, it's
yeah,
like...
but that boils down to, like, how we define things, and ultimately it's like relativity. I mean, this truly is a relativity thing where I say it's green, and you say it's green, but it doesn't mean that...
is it green?
Exactly. And so it's all a very subjective thing, and there's no way that you can prove or disprove that what you see as green is the same thing that I see as green. And so, I mean, the universe at the end of the day does not give a fuck who you love.
Yeah, because the universe is not a human being, and we've anthropomorphized.
Yeah, sure. I know what you're saying, and we are in
we've anthropomorphized the universe.
Yeah. So, but let's just be honest. A lot of the issues that people have with gay people, LGBTQ plus people, it stems from religion.
I'd say a good chunk of it stems from religion, yeah.
Yeah, 90% of it is, 99% of it is religion, 1% of it is ooh.
Yeah, and I think also just thank you,
Morphinized.
even reading it, I can't. But yeah, I think also it's that that lack of being able to, I don't want to say empathize, but also empathize, but understand, because especially for transgender people, it is, I think, very hard for somebody, especially say an old straight white Republican, to even contemplate how you could be born biologically one gender, but then mentally in your head know that this is wrong. You know, and that disconnect there, I think that is something that beyond religion, I think that especially is hard to understand, because you can't, as somebody who is mentally aligned with their biological gender. I'm not saying like me from my perspective. I'm just saying in general, as a person who is mentally aligned with their biological gender, it is, I think, a harder thing to then like wrap your brain around, of not being that biological gender, you know? Because I think there's like the concept of, okay, you're born a male, you're born a biological male, yet you like other males. Like, that's one thing that I think is easier to then comprehend mentally, versus say born biologically male, born biologically female, but then in your head you're like, no, I'm male or I'm female. Like, you're not that gender, or you're none of the gender, or you don't identify with any gender.
Right.
You know, I think that is a harder, just something that's harder for people to wrap their heads around and understand. But then I would also say, for those people who have trouble understanding it, because I can't empathize, really. I don't know what it feels like to, feel like...
Right, but you can sympathize.
I can sympathize, but I don't understand what it feels like to be born in the wrong body, but, you can learn
and accept
to
them.
have that awareness and acceptance. You don't... For all these people out there that are like, I just don't understand, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you don't have to understand. You don't have to feel it. You don't have to understand it. All you have to do is go, that's them. You have to just accept it, because that is that person. That is that person, and how that person identifies, and how that person is, and how they were born. There are people that are born with biologically both genders. And it's it's like that happens. And it doesn't matter. They're still a human being, and all we need to do as other people is just accept others.
Exactly.
Because I don't understand the point of not accepting other people. I really don't understand the point of like all this hate and all like where does it really get you? Like,
it
what
gets
is
you nowhere.
The benefit?
It gets you nowhere. And all I can do is look at our neighbor and try to see it from their point of view. And so our neighbor is exceedingly religious for the neighborhood we live in. And I think that they see it as, in the beginning, God created man and God created woman. And that is it. And you can't go in between. You can't do that. But, okay. All right. You can accept that, neighbor. Don't get your dick cut off and turned into something else. You know what I mean? It's you need to accept your neighbor. Jesus said to love your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
You're not loving your neighbor when you are the way that you are. And what if your kid or your grandkid came up to you and said, I feel like, let's say that your grandchild was born female. What would you do if they came up to you and said, I feel like I'm a boy? Well, I'm going to go back to, our main podcast. You only have one answer, and that is to say, I fucking love you, no matter what. I accept you as you are, because as Jack's student has said, my personality is more than my plumbing, but I'd be happier with a remodel.
Which is great. That's...
all you need to do, people, is just accept and love your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
The people that you share this little planet with.
Mm-hmm.
And because not everybody can be like you, and it would be a boring fucking world if everybody was like you.
If everybody was the same.
Yeah, you need. Let's just be honest. LGBTQ plus brings the rainbow to the world.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want everything to be homogenous.
No, and you need to people. Hey, celebrate love.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to do. Celebrate love and celebrate
individuality
people
and just being yourself.
Being who they are.
I mean, my mom said people need to feel superior to others and judge them.
Oh, well,
yeah. I mean, we're incredibly judgmental. Look, when we're watching shit or whatever, we are very judgmental people. Yet at the same time, we accept everybody. We'll still judge people, but we're...
Yeah, so in the 1800s...
We're very judgmental of assholes.
In the 1800s, Civil War happened.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
The War of Northern Aggression?
Oh, God, I hate saying that. The
I
War
still can't
of Northern
believe
Aggression.
that's what they shot first.
I know, right? So after the War of Northern Aggression...
Oh, my God.
After the Civil War happened and the South lost, all the white people were like, hey, but I'm still better than black people.
Oh, yeah.
So,
with the Civil
War,
equal,
but
I like how people, at least Northerners or what, at this point Westerners or whatever, are like, they're like, oh yeah, Civil War in the North, blah blah blah. It's like the North was just as racist as the South.
God, yeah.
However, the North didn't have slavery as one of their economic foundations. And that was the whole... The North didn't need slavery for their economy. There was no point in it. So all the white people were still racist. It was just that it wasn't like an economic necessity like it was in the South, where their agriculture was kind of dependent on slavery for them to be as prosperous or whatever as they were. So...
so... What are the people up north? What demographics do they look down upon? Hold on. Okay. I know what comment you're gonna get to.
I do.
They look down upon Italians. The entire country has a history of doing Polish jokes.
Italians, Irish,
Polish people. So
Jews
have
been persecuted.
I mean,
for
seriously,
thousands of years.
Yeah.
Jews have really been.
So let's not think that Northerners. Let's not think anybody in this country actually gets a free pass. Nobody does.
No.
It's not just the South. The South did enslave people, but people from the Midwest, people from the North. And the North being relative to the Southern states in the Civil War, people from out West, no. look, you all need to look in the mirror. Every fucking one of us need to look in the mirror.
There's interesting, there's interesting versions. There's various versions of racism and prejudice. Whereas like in the South is known for being very like it's like a black and white version of racism.
Yeah.
And then it's also, and now it's more, or it's evolved also into like this like very passive aggressive racism.
God, the South has perfected that.
Bless their heart.
Oh my God.
But whereas then you also have a version of racism that's an ignorant racism, where it's like you don't realize you're being racist, or because you're not aware, you're not in tune, you're not knowledgeable, you're not educated on the issues and that all African Americans, Black people, minorities, everybody has to go through, because you're not educated by it, or you're not inundated with it, you're not around it, so you don't think you're racist, but then there's an ignorance there that you don't realize that then is actually just racist.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this is two white people, to borrow a section from a CNN interview that I watched. This is two white people talking about this. Oh. And so,
okay,
but go ahead and talk about what you wanted, I think, to talk about something that was in the chat.
Oh, no, I just wanted to say Han shot first.
Oh.
And then that also brings it into Star Wars reference. Han shot first. Sal shot first. I mean, look, we all celebrate Abraham Lincoln as being the president that ended slavery, when Lincoln himself was fine with
Keep him a slave.
I wouldn't say he wasn't fine. I don't want to say he wasn't fine with slavery, because I don't have that information.
Yeah, but he wanted to preserve the Union.
His main goal was to preserve the Union, which meant he was fine keeping slavery in the South where it currently was. He was against expanding slavery further, and the U.S. had engaged in a bunch of compromises with the South that the South benefited from throughout its history up until the Civil War. And, the South basically saw Lincoln as being this president that wasn't going to let slavery expand. And so that wasn't good enough. They wanted it to expand, and so it was worth fighting a war over. And Lincoln, he was like, you guys can keep it where it's at. Like, you can keep slavery. And it wasn't until the North started winning the war that then they could use slavery against the South by enacting the Emancipation Proclamation. That was kind of like
1863, by the way.
That was
2 years after.
We're winning. Let's hit them where it hurts, which is their economic center, slavery.
Yeah, if Lincoln really wanted to end it, he would have done it in 1861.
Yeah, it really had nothing to do with equality and black rights and black freedom. It really was a political and strategic maneuver that the North did. And so, it's...
And you know what? I'm going to argue, and I'm going to make this argument realizing that I am not a historian in any kind of way.
Neither am I. I don't claim to be a historian.
The South won the Civil War. They completely did.
Oh.
They did not be able. They were not able to keep slavery, but they kept slavery through Jim Crow laws.
Yeah.
That lasted. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. They last until today. They're still going on today.
Oh yeah. Reconstruction.
Yeah.
That's rough.
The South, they were able to stay part of the United States. Had they become their own country, hey, if Texas wants to secede,
Let
Good
them.
luck.
They
Good fucking luck. You get more money from the U.S. government than you actually contribute to the U.S. government. So you have won just by virtue of that.
Oh, they wouldn't have. If the South had won and made their own country, economically, they would not have been able to. They wouldn't last long as their own country.
No, not at all. The industrialization was in the North, and the industrialization is where the money's at. Agriculture is not really. Yes, you can maybe feed your populace, but it is not where the money's at. And so, let's look at this country. The agricultural states tend to be more of not the richest states in the country, and so
yeah.
I mean. You can argue that, I suppose, but yeah. But anyway,
this has become a weird episode.
This
of
is
just
a weird.
It's like a whole civil rights spectrum episode of just, but then it's just two white people talking.
Yeah,
about
but you know
it,
the thing is, and I don't. All right, so there was a job I had a long time ago, very long time ago, where I worked with. You know, it was mainly African Americans, and all I could do was listen, and I really enjoyed listening to them, because they educated me as to what they had to deal with on a daily basis.
Oh, I would have no idea.
And as a white guy, I had no idea.
Yeah.
You know, I had no experience with this.
Yeah.
When I was in college one time, me and two friends were going from a mall back to the university, and the quickest route is to actually go through a portion of Columbia, South Carolina, where the prostitutes hang out.
Oh.
Yeah, and so for some reason we got pulled over. We're just driving through, folks. We are not stopping. We're not slowing down. I don't know why we got pulled over, but the cops split us up, and so there were three of us talking with three cops, each talking to a cop, just to make sure that our stories all were consistent.
Matched, yeah.
But I can't help but think now, looking back at working with those, with at that one job, and with the things that we see in the news with George Floyd and everybody, if we had been African American, we would have been in jail that night, even though none of us were doing anything.
I mean, I irrationally get very nervous if I'm pulled over by police. I don't know what it is. I get like really nervous and scared for some reason.
They're on a power trip.
Even though I know that like I shouldn't be as like nervous as I am. Like, usually it's because I'm like speeding, which I am, but the fireman sticker will usually take care of that. But
you didn't pull over into another lane.
Yeah, or I didn't pull over into another lane. You know, but me being but I am only scared of like getting in trouble when I know I'm
You're
not
just
like
scared
really,
of that ticket.
I'm scared of that ticket and getting in trouble, you know.
Having to pay that money.
I have never once been afraid for my life.
No.
Getting pulled over by a policeman. And of course there are many people, a lot of people in this country that of course they're always scared for their life.
Yeah.
You know, when encountering any form of police, which is sad, because you know the police are supposed to be there to protect us, the citizenry, regardless of whatever flavor of human we may be. And that's the job they're supposed to have signed up for. But I feel like there's a large majority of people that sign up for that job because they get that power trip out of it.
Oh, without a doubt. And I'm going to say that what we endured for the last 4 years, 2016 to January 2017 to January 2021. it's not just the police, but there were just a lot of people in everyday society that was emboldened, and actually because they feel like things were stolen from them that wasn't, they still feel like they are emboldened to attack Asian people because of COVID-19. Because of COVID, they feel like, this was an Asian thing.
Oh my God.
That just feel emboldened to attack African Americans just because they're African Americans. They feel emboldened to attack trans people. I don't even know why.
I don't get that at all.
I don't even know why.
I would say, I don't know, but if you're like a trans, like, black woman, you just, why?
They have, they're the lowest of the low.
Why? It's like, just.
I was a senior in high school, and there was a kid who actually was a popular kid, but he was gay, and he was accused of doing something to a member of my class, and let's just be honest, he was accused of giving a guy in my class, a football player. He was a football player.
I see what happened here.
Yeah, he was accused of giving him a blowjob when the football player was completely passed out. Okay, first of all, that's not going to happen. Second of all, but so he's accused. He got his ass kicked for that. They beat him up for that. Meanwhile, here's the thing, though. I'm not going to say this person's name. Not that anybody knows who this is and they're not listening, but still, I feel like protect the innocent. These two were the closest of friends, and so there was something more that was going on, and it just so happened that the other person got caught doing something to this other person, and because the guy was a football player, he was, of course, being taken advantage of.
Yeah. When usually it's the football players that are doing the ones taken advantage of.
I know, right? We've come a long way from this, but that was in the 80s. It still sits strong in my head.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that a generation from now, I feel like you and I were just born a generation too soon.
Generation,
Our mentality, our leanings are.
Well, I think we are, and similar people to us, we're kind of we're in that period of evolution where it's like you have those that are stuck and then those that can see beyond, and a mix of them. It's like we're in that process of moving forward where certain things are going to become more acceptable and are becoming more of the societal norm to be accepted. And it's sad that we have to have a societal norm that determines what's accepted, but I guess that's just how humans work, society works. So it's like we're excuse me, I burped a little bit. We're within the progress, we're just not, we're not at that end yet. No. And I don't know if there ever will be an end, because I feel like us humans, we're too evolved mentally for our own goods,
It's the optimist in me
Like,
that feels like
lions don't care if another lion is gay.
No.
They're all just going for whatever gazelle they can get. Like,
yeah, and you know what? To be honest, the male lion's head of the pride. He's like, oh, be gay. I don't, whatever. So that's all I got to worry about.
And it's the women keeping everyone in line anyway. So
Yeah.
I mean,
here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to say to any real conservative person that's listening. It gets better. It does. We have had to say to LGBTQ people for generations, it gets better. You're going to reach an age where you can accept yourself, and it's going to get better. Well, for my right-leaning
well, you said
friends,
Republican people in the beginning.
well, okay, for my right-leaning friends, it gets better. You're going to get to a certain age where you reach the maturity to where you can accept that two men falling in love with each other and getting married has no bearings on you at all.
How's Pat Buchanan doing on that?
Oh, Pat Buchanan. Is he still alive? If not, he can go die. Ted Cruz. You can shut the fuck up.
Whatever.
You can shut the fuck up. And...
Look, a lot of these people are just saying whatever's they're going to say that makes them the most money and that keeps the most money in their pocket.
And you know what? For politicians, for Ted Cruz's, I can understand that. I see how you want to get reelected and you feel like that Texas, hey, this is demographic that's going to work for you. But for you non-politicians, you're just evil. You are the reason why LGBTQ people kill themselves. You are the reason why LGBTQ people cannot accept who they are. And if they don't kill themselves, they are riddled with a life of depression. You are the reason for that. And I realize that you're not watching this podcast, and you probably never will, because we are not subscribers to your space friend, your sky friend, who you firmly believe in. But, you guys just need to just fuck off. LGBTQ people, they have a right to exist. African Americans have a right to exist. People that live south of this country's border have a right to exist, and more importantly, can also have the right to come up to this country to try to, just survive, to live. And so if you propose that you are Christian and that you are pro-life, then these are the people that you should accept, that you should try to
care about,
that you should
the people
care about.
that have consciousness and feelings and are actual human beings and not
because
not yet.
Didn't your buddy Jesus say that you should love your neighbor as yourself? So where are you on that?
Jack says, you probably talked about this in the main show, which we didn't, but the gay community has a massive gap in its cultural history because of how the AIDS pandemic was handled. And there are so few mentors for the baby gays and LGBT plus kids to learn from. Yeah,
there was an astronomer, and just give me a moment. Wow, okay. Oh, it came up pretty instantly.
We didn't touch on AIDS at all.
No,
actually.
Neil Devine.
Oh, okay.
Neil Devine was.
Can we just highlight that his name is Neil Devine?
I know, right? He's divine. Neil Devine was an astronomer, and Neil Devine he studied helium stars, and in the 1960s actually came up with a model to describe the inner workings of helium stars before they were even discovered.
That's cool.
Yeah, he died of AIDS at the age of 55.
Wow.
And so, AIDS took from us a lot of people. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
but I mean, just think about that. Think about you. Just think about all that we lost, all the talent. Just
because of
the
just
intellect,
what? Prejudice.
Yeah,
Fear.
because Ronald Reagan refused to try to find. He was like, let the gays die. Ronald Reagan, if you guys love him, he was evil. He was evil.
Was it basically like, well, they shouldn't be doing that anyway? Mentality,
yeah. And that still goes on today. And I mean, luckily we do have. I mean, Fauci was part of HIV and AIDS in the 80s. And he could have gone. As much as we hold him up as a hero for COVID, he was not a hero for AIDS, HIV, I should say, because it really is HIV.
Yeah.
That eventually turns into AIDS, but to me, it's not a hero for HIV, a hero for COVID. But if we had just not listened to the quote-unquote moral majority of the early 1980s, would fall well in everybody.
I feel like you should never listen to a moral majority, because the moral majority usually isn't very moral.
I know, right? Then we would have been a lot further along with HIV than we are. And I mean, yeah, the fact that we lost all those people, and as Jack says, there's so few mentors for baby gays, and LGBTQ kids to learn from, and they have to learn from basically just from experiencing life, but it gets better. It gets better,
and as we did touch on in the main show, it is getting better. That because there are more voices that are being heard, there's more representation being shown in media, which is important because our media is how we get our information. It's how we disseminate information. It's how we communicate now. It is our media is our connection to the wider world. As many flaws as the internet has, which there are a lot, and there are a lot of voices that should not be out there for sure. It does open the world up. So it is slowly getting better, and there is that, and more representation and inclusivity is becoming a thing that is a thing. It's like, I don't remember the word inclusivity being talked about a lot when I was younger, if at all. Like, I remember it was Matthew Shepard. Matthew Shepard, who was the gay teen that was killed in this was that like the first hate crime, or what was determined to be the first?
It is not the first hate crime.
Not the first hate crime, but what was finally, then that was like the straw of like, oh, well, let's make a hate crime, or
for
LGBTQ, yeah.
And it was just how horrific it was.
Yeah,
that he was beaten and left on a fence.
But it's like, but even like there was this whole, and I had brought up Xena in the main show as being like, seeing that representation of a strong female lead being important to me as a young girl growing up. But also there was the aspect of Xena, where Xena and Gabrielle shared an intimate relationship, and there was never any confirmation of if it was like a lesbian thing or not, or just close friends. It was kind of like implied that they were just close friends, but also implied that maybe there was something more there, but that representation matters,
Mm-hmm.
you know, showing that, you know, in fact, I think it would have been beneficial if it wasn't the time, but it's never the time, you know. You have to make the time to show that something is okay and to show that representation. You know, it takes that bold move, which shouldn't be bold at all, you know, to make that clear, like, hey, Xena and Gabrielle, girlfriends, cool, you know. It's and Jack says, my line in the sand is when in the media is when they praise a straight performer for playing gay when it's just the life for a gay performer. Yeah, it's like there are so many people. There are over 7 billion people on this planet. Any media conglomerate, Hollywood, etc., can find trans actors, gay actors, lesbian actors, queer actors, non-binary actors, Asian actors, black actors, Indian actors, you know, Native American actors. Like, there's no shortage in actors in these areas. You don't have to have Scarlett Johansson play an Asian woman in Ghost in the Shell. You can find a badass Asian woman to play the badass Asian woman in Ghost in the Shell.
Exactly.
You know, like, that was such like I feel like that was a really niche reference of me, but...
But it works. It's great.
You know, so... Bye, Ron. Thanks for hanging out with us. But you can find these people to play these roles. You know, for special needs roles, for characters with disabilities. There are plenty of actors with Down syndrome or other disabilities that can play these roles.
Yeah.
You don't need to have... And I get it, what the studio is trying to do is they're trying to get a big
A-list.
name,
A quote-unquote A-lister.
Yeah, who's going to bring in the money.
Who's always white.
You know, and it's capitalism, and that's what capitalism does. They're banking on what's going to bring in the most money rather than representation and inclusivity. But I do feel that that it is. We're heading in the right direction because random people like us we're talking about it. You know, other people are talking about it. It's being seen more, you know, and things are becoming, you know, like I'm seeing in a lot of email signatures when I'm interacting with either people, well, mainly with people in the planetarium community, but they're in their signature lines they have their pronouns. It's pronouns he, she, him, her, or him, he, they, them, you know, he, them, you know, that sort of thing. I'm seeing that happen, and that just shows that
we're heading in the right direction.
There is progress. It's slow, but granted, our species has been around for how many?
Yeah, a long time, but still, it's very short in the time frame of the Earth or from the universe.
So I have, and as a pessimistic person, I have hope. And I say this as a cis straight woman.
Women?
Women.
I am more than one.
I'm more than one woman. I'm too much woman for anybody to handle. That there is hope, and for me, I want to be a good ally for everybody, whether you're LGBTQ, Black, Asian, Native American, all the other, Estonian, I don't know, all the other, that's pretty white.
That is pretty white.
Maori.
Yeah, there you go, bringing out Middle Earth. Do we have to take a drink for that? No.
No, because it's Maori. You said Middle Earth. So, I want to be a good advocate for everybody, and I know that I have my own biases that I'm aware of and those that I'm not aware of. I have I realize that I grew up in a bubble of ignorance and privilege, and so it's like, I just, look, I'm here for you, and I'll do what I can, and I know that I'm part of the problem, But hey, we're talking about it. So
Yeah.
that's what matters, talking about it and getting it out there.
And on that
note, I don't know. I mean, you know what? The drinks have happened. This is what happens in the hangover. I get rambly. And
yes. Okay. All right. So, if you're straight and listening to this, and you are a parent,
sorry, it's just the wigs.
If you are the parent of a child, I should say, because a parent sounds like if you're a parent, if you are the parent of a child who comes to you and says, "I am LGBTQ plus whatever," well, it wouldn't be a plus at that point, but if I am LGBTQ, accept them. The only acceptable response is, "I love you," and let's go get ice cream. Maybe the ice cream part is for me, but
whatever they like, go get it.
Yeah, but it is that I love you. I accept you for who you are. If you are the spouse to somebody that is LGBTQ, and this I'll even include the plus for this, you need to accept them. And again, the response is that I love you, and for the spouse of that person, you need to understand that they might need a moment of acceptance. They need a moment to, catch their breath from what was just told to them. We all need to love our neighbor, to quote Christians that surround me. You need to love our neighbor, accept them for who they are, and realize that we're all human, and human is not black and white. Human is shades of gray, and actually shades of a rainbow. And we're all colors in this, and so we all bring color to it.
Although if you are gray, you may need like some
medical
water
attention
or something. I don't know. It's
you need,
not a
you
good
need some
color
medical
to be.
attention. And that color is what makes the universe an amazing thing. And by we, I mean I am quite fortunate in that I have people that love me and accept me for who I am. And for those who don't, fuck you. I could care less what you think. And just as you go through the next couple of weeks before our next podcast, next 2 or 3 weeks, because we actually, like I said, in the main show, we don't know when it's going to happen.
Maybe the week after next week, or
it'll either
2
be the
weeks after
11th or
next
the
week.
18th. Just think about if you accept somebody just for being who they are, you truly might save their life. And for members of the family, let's just keep on keeping on. Let's just keep on wearing that rainbow and keep on, moving on. But realize that there are people that might not accept us for who we are, but we're fucking lucky for those that do.
Oh, me.
Bye, everybody. What I'm saying is that I'm very lucky that I have you accepting me and other people that are in your life for who we are. And for you guys that are the plus part of LGBTQ, we see you.
I don't have any more, but we see you.
We see you, and we accept you, and the universe is damn fucking lucky to have you. So cheers, everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks, or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever the fuck it is. And everybody have a great one. Cheers.
Cyber bear hugs from Jack.
Cyber bear hugs from Jack.
We love you. Bye. I wasn't ready to. I'm not ready productionally to stop the episode.
That's all right.
I don't know what to do now.
That's all right. We're just gonna keep talking. All right, Jack. Love you sharp, man. I need to look for it.
Unicorn deadlifters.
Unicorn deadlift. I'm not a deadlifter,
All
but
right.
it's a unicorn.
We'll see you guys. Bye.
2 or 3 weeks.
We love you. Stay
Bye.
safe, stay healthy, and
Cheers.
party on. Party on, man.
Party on.